Yep.
Hello, welcome again to RubySteps mob programming with Alistair Cockburn, and now joined by our new friend, Dave NGO over in Brussels, and our old and
Hello.
Founder, our
founding
member.
founding lovely friend, and yes.
Very nice to meet you guys.
Thanks for joining us, Dave. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different today, kind of doing one of Alistair's pet projects. Why don't you tell us what's up, Alistair?
All right, are you going to be pulling up the stuff on the screen? All right. So there's this design pattern. So I'm going to just talk straight to you here. There's this design pattern called a hexagonal architecture. Okay. But hexagon isn't important. All we're trying to do is abstract away the real world. So normally you have a user sitting at a user interface, which could be voice or could be graphic user interface. And on the other side, we've got a database. And people get tangled up in the discussions of the database and get tangled up in the discussions of the UI. So the idea is to create the application, the program, totally in isolation, so it doesn't know anything about the outside world. It doesn't know anything about the database. It doesn't know anything about a database. They have a concept that there is a database, but it wouldn't know what is the database. They have a concept that there is a user, but it wouldn't know what's the way of talking with the user. Those are the left side and the right side of the hexagon. Each one of these facets of the hexagon is called a port. And a port is like a conversation, a kind of a conversation. So often programs will have 2 or 3 or 4 different ports for different kinds of conversation. We're going to have that the visitor to the website is going to go over the visitor port. And what we would expect that conversation to look like would be like, add something to the database, or show me a post, or show me a muffin, or whatever. Mark this thing in some fashion. That's a kind of a conversation that's normally going on. That's already been done, and it's done in a way that you could run tests against that. So when you run, whatever, Cucumber or RMAC, or RSpec, whatever those guys are, the program can't tell it's a test program talking to it. It's just stop talking to it. So we can swap out and have a real person going over the web into it, or we can run the tests. Right? So that's the port, the visitor port, and that's been implemented. What's not been implemented is the persistence port. And normally people absolutely, whether doing Rails or something, they absolutely lock in the knowledge of the type of the database right from the very beginning. They say right from the, we're going to use Rails. It's all locked in. Yeah. Well, it's got problems if your database goes down or you want to do some private stuff. You're locking Rails. I don't want to use Rails or MongoDB or whatever. So we're going to do the same isolation, which is not at all there yet. Okay. Today, we're going to step it. First, we're going to have our database just be inside the program, actually inside the test case. So we'll do the database inside the test case. And if we get far enough, we'll have it then be inside the file system. We'll have one file for everything. But we won't get to the day that one day we would have Mongo or Postgres or Thingy being the third one. So this idea is, what is a conversation that goes over the persistence port? Well, it would be save something, like persisted, and get something back. Okay. So for instance, if the server dies, then all the stuff in memory goes away. We would suddenly need to pull all the stuff out of the persistence and bring it back in again and make it live again. Okay. But we're not going to go out to the database for every single query. We'll stay in memory for most of the queries.
Oh, so
everything's in memory.
Everything's in memory.
Everything's in memory.
And so
the only reason we'll use
database for the users?
No, just in case the server goes down, I have to reload the memory, and I gotta have it somewhere.
Okay, so it's a backup.
Yeah, as it works like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because everything is memory. You can check it in Heroku because you can store some things in the moving LAN, and the day before and the day after, everything is vanished. So everything is in memory.
That's right. That's my memory. It's all short-term memory.
Yeah, let's face it. Everything is memory, and the memory, you can lose the memory.
No, we did.
And you won't. So.
All right. Now, for this stuff, this guy here uses modern chopsticks tools like Emacs.
Yes.
So, are you an Emacs user?
I'm not an Emacs user, but I'm following more or less who is going to be the driver of this session.
Well, I have a question to put
Yeah.
a proposal for you guys. Would you prefer then for me to drive mostly, so you guys are doing the
I think
thinking,
it's
and I'm driving, so that we're not
Yeah.
spending time doing Emacs commands?
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah. So you can.
Plus, that keeps me shutting up most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about driving. You could be the. You could be.
why
The,
it's good to have somebody to blame.
yeah. As they say in facilitated sessions, beware the person with the pen. So he could type stuff in.
Yeah. All right.
So
Cool.
you can be the typist.
So
There are layers of blaming.
I'm gonna start sharing the screen right now so that people can see the codes.
Which is too bad, because if we were doing this, it was just the three of us, we could be using RubyMine. Let's see, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
Could be.
We'll watch. Let's
We
keep rolling.
We can do that later.
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
want.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. So
Pull it up.
we are ready to go.
So you've got three screens. What are on the three screens?
So in the three screens here over on the left, I have test muffinland.rb, which I guess is the highest level test.
Wait. Are we in small hexagon or in Muffinland?
I'm a dork. Wait, we're in small web hexagon.
So the first thing to do is get the names fixed up. It's not a muffin. Do you want to leave them, or do you want to just, like, do you care?
I don't care.
Okay. Do you care, David? Show the test the code again.
Here's our test.
Currently called Muffinland, not small hexagon. We should be consistent. Let's get these names. Because if this is going to be a public Git repository, it should be named properly.
Okay. So
how do you do your refactoring names?
I don't know. What do we?
The tool set.
So Git MV.
Well, what? Yeah. What do we want to call that?
Well, show me a place where it's wrong, just so I can get my eyes trained up.
Test Muffinland, I guess. Is wrong.
Correct. So the name of the file should be test small web hexagon, right? So David, what we're going to be doing is taking turns being the navigator here. So Pat will be the person on the keyboard, then you and I and Jen will all take turns being the kind of navigator.
I think we can do like kind of more freeform stuff.
Freeform?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we just want to watch that everybody gets a good airtime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what did you just do?
So I renamed the file to test small.
But here it says Muffinland, require relative Muffinland. So
Well, it's a different file.
yeah, all this Muffinland stuff's got to go.
Can we do something more interesting than renaming files for the first 10 minutes?
Go for it. I'm easy.
Okay.
So
what do you want to do?
So in the test set, what we would like to do is
Sorry, I'm just creating a new branch for us to work on because we're gonna send you a pull request when all this is done.
Well, great. Persistent port. This is great. It's a new branch. Okay, great.
what is persistent? What did check out? What is persistent port?
I just created a new branch and I'm calling it persistent.
Okay, got it. Okay, keep going. So, David, at least my idea. So this is where we're going, and I don't know the first thing to do, and I don't know how to create a test for it yet. We've got a historian. Can we look at the code and just show a little familiarity with the code? If you open up, who calls that? It's the other one. Muffinland. Is it called Muffinland? So open up Muffinland. I forgot to rename all that stuff, and I can do that later. Open up Muffinland. And go down to where it says handle post. Very end of that file. See where it says add, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Higher, right? Just a little bit higher. Just a little bit higher. Oh, there, handle a little bit lower. You were actually within like 2 lines of making it show up. It's handle post.
Oh,
That's handle
we were on
post. I know, you were like there. See, it says the historian add request. So when a post comes in, hang on, this is for Jen, so she can have her eyes follow. So when you go and you type in some new content and you say add, it sends a post request into the server, and it'll land right here for handle post and then for request. So the first thing it does is we build, in this style of design, we build a little society of people. It's basically, we create a bureaucracy. It's anthropomorphic design because people understand how to create systems of people.
Okay.
So the idea is that we're going to tell that the historian is in charge of all of the history of everything that happened. So the baker is in charge of baking muffins and serving them up.
Okay.
Historians in charge of all history things. That makes sense.
Okay.
So the first thing when we get it, we need to see the code right. So whenever a post comes in, the first thing we do is we tell the historian to add the request, and then we just send a response. And then the baker says add the muffin and give it back to us.
Okay.
Dave, what?
Let me ask you, Master, what is going to be the goal, or what is the thing we are looking for? Because regarding the talk we had, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago, to have everything in memory is good, and the plan could be to have a asynchronous process out there, getting the memory. I mean, all the
Simplifying it for now. Simplifying it for now. My current idea is that is to not have the asynchronous process. The historian is going to know about that. But I'm still going to keep talking forever. Any other viewer who hasn't got this familiarity, and also for Jim. So when a post comes in, we tell the historian add that to the history, so we know about the history, and we tell the baker to add it and do the baking and stuff. So now, if we can go back and look at the historian for a moment, so what the historian does, very, very simply, is the historian's got an array called the posts. That's it. And when you add a request, it just pops the request in on the posts. So that's it. So it's all in memory. It's not stored anywhere. So question for idea here, Dave. I'm thinking of introducing a new character called a valet. V-A-L-E-T, like the guy who parks your cars or something like that, or presses your suits or whatever.
Oh, and so he would.
And the valet is the one who knows how things are stored.
Okay.
So the historian can go and find things, but they actually like going and getting the car, or going and getting something from the freezer would be the valet.
Okay.
So Dave, what I have in mind is that the valet will have a configurable dependency. We'll tell it, point wherever the storage mechanism is, whether it's an array in memory or whether it's a file system or whether it's a database. And then we should be able to reload the database and replay stuff. That's the current, the simplest thing to aim for that we could do in an hour.
Okay.
Are you following, Dave?
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay, so what do we do first, I don't exactly know. So open for suggestion on how to create a test case.
Well, what would be, so who's,
we'll store requests.
Is the historian going to be collaborating with the valet?
Right, so the historian will know of the existence of the valet, right? Which way does the dependency go? I think the historian knows about the valet and not the other way around.
I think so too. And does the historian know about the valet when it's initialized? Or is there a point where we say, hey, historian, do something with the valet, and we give it a valet?
I would think that you would, and I'm a little bit open to suggestion that you would tell it where the valet is. Maybe would you have different valets, one valet that only knows about in-memory databases, a different valet that only knows, or would you have a valet and you pass it a mechanism with an interface protocol? What's the simplest thing?
Well, so I was thinking you'd have 2 valets. Maybe one valet takes you to in-memory, one valet takes you to
that would be just fine. So we can't write any code till we have a test. Are we in agreement?
Agree.
Doesn't have to. But that's and so the question is, what is it we're storing? We're storing requests, the whole request, because everything here is just like the whole request. Yeah. So do you have the test cases on the left over there?
Yep.
If we look at those, the test cases on the left.
It's all the tests. This is all the tests.
That should just be two tests. Right?
So, yeah, request. So we have test empty DB as special case. It says post return contents. And that's it.
Right. So does this thing create? Sorry, can you go down the file a little bit so we can see how one of the tests works? The second test. There, stop it. So it creates request via API, and we send in a request, right? And what we would want to test is, how do we test that we have a persistent related anything? What do we?
Yeah, I think this open turn of suggestion. Is it still open? Okay. So I think that we should define with a test, which is going to be the access to the historian. I don't know, of to any any class. So just like a specification of how should be. Post. Put something there and get something from there.
So one of the things to do is to put 3 things into a database, or put 1 thing into a database and see that you can get it out. So in other words, we do a read before we do a write.
Yeah, got it. But okay, let's.
We had a database, and then we would ask for something from the database.
Well,
directly from the valet.
here's an idea.
Okay.
So a Muffinland object lives in memory, right? And so if we were to have 2 Muffinland objects that both are able to respond with the receive request, they both respond the same way. That means that somehow the memory has managed to become connected. So there's a database, right? If I post a request to one Muffinland object, and then
What do you mean by a Muffinland object? You mean a muffin?
well, no, I mean this Muffinland right here.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay, sorry, I'm with you. Right.
So if we create this new one,
Right.
and then we post to it,
Right.
and then we have another Muffinland object and say, give me that request. If that second one is able to return that request, that means that it was persistent.
Yeah,
Objects with 2 different
agree.
instance variables.
I didn't follow it, but David, if you follow, I'll go along for a ride. I'm not sure why if you have 2 Muffinland objects
So let
talk
me-
to each other that equals.
So let me just sketch something real quick.
Right.
So app is muffinland.new.
Right.
So we'll say app1,
Mm-hmm.
and ignoring this, we'll say app dot, post request,
Right.
blah blah. So now I should be able to like fetch requests, blah blah, and that'll get it, right? So now if I'm in memory, this still works. However, if I do app2 is muffinland.new, if I do this, fetch requests, blah blah, assuming that we have only in memory, this will not return anything, right? Because the instance variables are different. But if we've persisted somewhere, then that should return something.
Yeah.
It's an idea.
It's a thought.
It's a thought.
It's better than any thought I've got.
Gotta try it
It
sometime.
looks more complicated than what I would think of, but I don't have anything. So currently, it's
Really? It's so less complicated than what's here.
wow. Let's create a new test case. Let's see what it looks like.
Test 02. Systems. Do you like that name? Do you want something else?
As you're used to shoulds.
I don't use shit in the name.
Well, what do I do?
Well, what's
Let's
it
follow
called?
my conviction.
Test posts return contents.
Right, so that's what I expect. Kind of like about the should. What do you want it to do? Two Muffinlands.
Muffinlands share
Right.
posts.
Yeah. Sure. Well, elongated.
Yeah, got it. Got it, but yeah, let's go ahead.
You because I'm going to be thinking of something similar while you're typing. I don't have anything better, so we're going.
Oh, so okay, so you want me to just kind of try to implement something close to the idea that I sketched?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
So let's go dirty for a moment.
That's the way it is. I wouldn't copy all of that, but
Well, let's see what part I don't need after,
exactly.
but it's all here. So let's see.
Let's see what we have there.
We need that.
So you're gonna, just for fun, get yourself 2 apps. So app 1 is Muffinland New and app 2 is Muffinland New, right? That's what you're proposing.
Yep.
Now, request the API ML response actually does the call, right? So it will do a post into whichever.
So we only care. I would think we only care about one post because this looks doing. So I see what's going on here. I think we only need to do one post, and then instead of this request via API passing an app 1, we want to pass an app 2.
Correct. So you'll keep the ML response. You'll ditch the expecteds because you
And
don't
I'm saying
expect the
and only
expecteds for
one.
now.
We only need one post.
So you only
Right?
need that first line. You don't need to do the expected. Right there. Get rid of that expected. You don't need the should. We're not testing anything at the moment, unless you like it, but it's wordy.
But I think that's what we're going to need at some.
Later, it'll come back.
Okay. But I don't want to delete it if we just get it back in here.
I believe it will go away.
Okay. And then these ones we don't care about.
Now, stop.
Oh wait, we do care about this one.
That's what I'm saying.
Got it.
So delete this. Delete the next step. ML response get /0. Actually, then what you're going to do is, sorry, you want an app, that has to be app 1. That has to be app 1.
Yeah. I sketch my like the.
And then you were going to do a get on app 2.
Yeah, so it's post app 1, get app 2.
Right.
Okay, so we sent something there, so we keep this. We don't care about this because it's previously tested.
No, because you're going to change the app to app 2.
Oh, yeah. And then everything else.
And then it
dies.
should be good, right? That's the question. Okay. Which is a strange way to test persistence, but.
I guess from a high level, kind of makes sense to me. Well, think about app 1 as your server on Heroku on Monday,
Right.
and app 2 is your server on Heroku on Tuesday.
Okay. I'm going along for the ride.
Cool. So now we expect this to fail.
Are you following along, David?
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah, you got the idea, but okay, still for me it's a bit hard to understand this request. But I'm checking with the GitHub.
Stop, Dave. What's hard for you to understand?
No, I'm checking with GitHub the request via API. So okay, finally you are going to make an handle request, right? So it's just injecting one request, injecting a request right there.
I'm trying to run. Is it just bundle exec?
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we have one error. Looks like.
You should have gotten a nil back.
Let's see what it says. Yeah. So expected.
We got a nil.
We got a nil instead.
Our exactly. Database, right?
Yep. And so can I just verify that everything's hooked up? I just want to pass app 1 in there just to see it pass.
Yeah, of course, perfect.
Fly spear.
Okay.
Oops.
That should pass.
Cool. Now I want to. Why does it do that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Or where we want to be.
So let me tell you what I had in mind. Because I'm looking ahead to what you're going to implement. You're going to implement something on the right-hand side, on the muffin land.
Mm-hmm.
What I was thinking was that the database would be inside the test case. You would construct the database inside the test case. And then tell the valet, or create the valet, but also tell the valet, this is the database.
Mm-hmm.
And then just do a get.
Mm-hmm.
So my alternative way of thinking, different than your thing here, so now I can at least articulate it. stage one of the test case would be to define the database, which would be an array with one request in it, which would be the only one. And then tell Muffinland or tell the valet that we want the first one, and it would go and get it from our array object.
So we're working towards in-memory.
First thing I want is in-memory database, in-memory persistence, and the in-memory is going to be inside the test case.
So would it look something like?
Why don't you mock up another test case, def test 03 something, or just look at what the code looks like inside the test case. I'll write some pseudocode here, and I would say valet fetches from in-memory database. Right. And the first line of code would be db equals array with stuff. Right. And then it would say, then you just do ML response is request via API, and then app is just app is Muffinland. There's only one app. Okay. And then we would just do the get. There wouldn't be any posts. The post, when we raise it to post, because we're going to construct the request from that information. And so the database will have an array with one element, which is the post, which is the post itself. Yeah? And so this would say database is stuff, app1 is Muffinland, ML response. Can you just put that in your copy buffer or hide it or something? ML response, right? Yeah, like this. So we would have, it has to say app1, not app2. Something like this, right? Something like that. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking for a test. And then I would know that it had gotten it from the database.
So what is the structure? Well, so what do we want to put in the database?
Look at the way a post is structured with the top of it. Receive service is request via API. Yeah. Go to the top. And you see where it says environment equals blah 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 rack request. So what it passes is an ML rack request. So this stuff here, where it says request via API, is the construction of a request that gets sent, and that's what gets stored in the database.
So the request is what
gets stored. An ML request. So those three lines construct an ML request.
So would it be worthwhile to move this one line out so that we have a separate method so that we can construct a request?
So make a new function called construct request. Whatever you like to call it. Babe, this is going pretty fast. Do you want to shout in here any changes in the direction or the naming?
And it doesn't need that.
Construct request, and it doesn't need app. Needs method and params, and then copy those in there. Very nice. And then actually request via API will just have the app handle request. It may even it may vanish. The request, if it's that simple, the request via API may vanish as a thing entirely.
Sure. But and so in terms of this refactoring, we have request is construct request. So what I want to do here, let's see, because this is kind of a sketch thing. So I'm just going to return from in here to not do this one.
Same with read.
Probably, we might want to leave a note. I don't know what to say.
No, we get it. Now it should pass, because you did a refactoring.
Whoa!
Whoa. David, did you shout that someone stabbed you in the back? That's good. Okay. So David?
Yeah, could you put the muffin line?
Let's go up to the top. Hang on, Shane. In the end, after all of that talking, all that he did was to refactor the function called request via API. And instead of constructing the request slowly with 3 lines of code, he factored out those 3 lines of code into its own function called construct request. So now we have a nice tidy way to construct things that Muffinland can properly absorb.
May I point to you know, it's something I was thinking about it. It's in the moving line itself, in the constructor of moving line, in the initialize. You can go there.
Yeah. Initialize. Sorry.
Silence. The silence, you know, is gave me a lot of memories from Brussels. Okay, you know, you see the historian is right here. Let's create a new historian, and you know, for testing purpose, I don't know if it's worth or not, but I would put this in a attribute in accessor, just for setting the historian in a new, just any other things. I mean, it's substitute, because right now your historian here is historian 1, historian new, all right? So in the test, okay, you want to create a new database, okay, whatever object. I think this is worth, but sooner or later you have to review this part, because
Dave?
you are here a bit coupled.
I'm not following, so let me try to understand. It's the instance variable is called the historian because there's only one.
Yeah, I know, but for, you know, when you want to substitute one implementation by other implementation, even for your testing implementation,
yeah,
it's very helpful to put those variables in with accessors. You know, the historian, we can set the historian in the test. You know.
Okay.
Okay, the implementation is something for the, probably not now, but just take in account, because sooner or later you are going to take care about it.
Well, you're going to be the next navigator, so I'll let you do that.
Okay, let's come a step back. Sorry.
No, that's good. And now you've got something very specific to do, and I'll get to watch it. Just to make sure.
Yeah, and later when you want to put in there, probably you need to set historian to something concrete in the test.
Right. Okay.
This is what I'm thinking about. But okay, let's go a step back and let's follow with the test with the DB, you know, the naked DB in the test, and that's all.
Okay, we've got that on our list of things to do, and you'll get to do that next. Just in tracking, can you see that we refactored?
Yep.
That's all we did was create a function called construct request, so it's isolated. Yes?
Yeah.
Good. And then the test passed.
Great.
Good. So now we can construct requests that we can pass into anything. So now in test number 3.
Yeah. Let's see.
Construct request, sure. Yeah, request equals construct request. Add the stuff that you had in well, you could go get it from up there. It's going to be
right?
It's going to be a post. Ignored. And whatever. Well, if you can type it, you're better than me. I would never get this right. I know, I'm working hard, man. I'm running as fast as I can. No, I would never get that right and have it come out right either. But okay.
Well, we haven't confirmed that I'm not right yet either.
No, okay. So anyway, the database is, well, let's make sure we're compatible, because what is the historian going to do? The historian, all the posts are. So it's just a request. Here's the same. It's the same. It's an array with requests.
And here's why I liked the idea of having a method on the historian that takes the database to write to, as opposed to knowing from the initializer. Is it gets, at least in the short term, we have less design ripple out here. Like if we mess with.
Sure, it's good. Good. How are you doing about this test case style versus that test case style? You okay, or you?
Oh
see
yeah,
some-
no, I'm very okay.
with it?
So and actually, well, I realized that, and I was off of thinking what you were saying is that this would be for actual persistent to disk and not in memory.
Right.
And so it doesn't get the configurable dependencies that you want.
Right. Okay.
So
That's the second stage.
I definitely like this.
Okay. So the request is that the database is only the request. Now, what is it we want? We would want now somehow, and the problem we've got is there's no concept in here of that something hasn't been materialized from the database, which is the whole initializing it to record and cache miss stuff shit. Oh, I don't want to get into it. I want to not think about any of that right now. How would we have the historian? Because right now, if you look at a get doesn't go to the historian. The current only use of the historian really is the line that says no history to report, which is kind of funny. So it may be that the historian is totally not needed because I never used historian. Historian gets called once or twice, like is the database empty? And by the way, here's a muffin, right?
They are using the historian when you are at. Yeah, and then here and here.
Right. So it's a characteristic of Alistair when he designs. He puts in one more layer of rubbish than he needs to, and sometimes the things take stuff out. Right. So maybe there is no need. I don't know. But if you look at get muffin, it doesn't actually go to the historian because it goes to the baker. So that's all the stuff that's in memory.
Yeah.
And the baker doesn't know about the historian. So we don't need a valet. Maybe the historian's everything that's we're going to do with, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, when you do a get, and the database is not the stuff that. So the baker has the muffin tin. The muffin tin has all the muffins.
So is this, when we're saying database, is this actually a muffin tin?
We'll look at muffin tin for a minute. It's in the baker. I don't think we need a historian too much. The muffin tin has all of the muffins, and you can you do an at? Right, it's an array, so at. What's happened in test 3 is we're going to create a database, or a muffin tin, if you will, with one muffin in it. But we haven't told Muffinland to populate or to use this database. So is that what we're going to want to do? Because the purpose of the persistence is when Heroku restarts and there's nothing in there, it'll look for its persistence. It'll look for an existing muffin tin, and so it'll just swap in a muffin tin and bring a muffin tin into memory.
Yeah, well, so I was thinking, like, if you, as a short-term thing, if you got something like this, right, or I'd kind of prefer
Exactly.
Muffin tin to stay with the metaphor,
right? And so at that point, now what we have is a very configurable dependency. We can say this is Postgres tin.
Dave's happy, I think. Are you happy, Dave?
Yeah. I was pointing to the same thing.
Go with that. So you need a muffin. Muffin tin is an array. Muffin tin is not an array. You have to go get a real muffin tin. And we're going to have to add something to the muffin tin to tell it that it's got how to persist it from a database, how to create it. Because right now, muffin tin comes with an array new.
And so would we add raw and the content is the request?
Well, add raw is for adding one new muffin, right? But we're going to add a whole pot. So muffin tin is going to be like load from and then a database and then an array. And it's just going to do a block assignment of at muffins equals new array, new thingy.
Got it. So we do need.
So we need to interface the muffin tin that say it's going to bulk load. Can we do bulk load? To just write the code on the server side, right? It's on the client side. So we're going to say muffin tin dot bulk load, and then your array with the thing. That's it. Right. Dave, can you look at? Okay, because we're typing really fast here. So the metaphor is the bulk load. I don't know if that's a great metaphor, but it's not a bad one.
Works for me.
Works for you. Now, if that's what we're going to do, then we're going to have to write a test for it. So the test, if you want to, you'll have the return as soon as
Excuse me. Okay, second.
Skyping you. I love Skyping you, baby. I think that. Okay. So our actual test that we want to do is going to be a test that we can do a bulk load on a muffin tin. So we're really after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay,
And if
so
you can do me a favor and put a return up there.
I'm on it.
All right.
I'm on it.
This is not a test file, right?
This is a test file, and we put return because we're turning them all into empty tests. So it's all about just scratching,
It's basically
scratching away. We're just scratching away at stuff, and later, like most of them, get deleted. Return just tells the test, oh, it's not to do anything bad with it.
And this is not our spec test.
No, because I don't have
Test
R
file?
spec yet because I haven't learned how to.
So
how to
it's
get
unit
that.
test,
That's right.
so you don't have to call it
Is
spec.
it something?
No,
No,
I
but it
mean-
does have to say test at the beginning.
But the file name itself doesn't.
Has test in it also. Test small hexagon. Everything has to start with a test. So muffin tin equals muffin tin new, and then we're going to do a bulk load.
Maybe he muted us?
David, are you there or are you on Skype? You've got the mute button on.
I wonder how.
Hello?
Venga, un besito. Mañana ya te digo.
Venga, un beso. Hasta luego.
Okay, you mute yourself again. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Are you finished with Skype?
Yeah.
Okay, so catch up here. We're testing only that muffin tin bulk loads. So
Good.
So did we?
Yeah.
Hopefully we've got the right matchers now because I didn't have that stuff before. We're gonna find out if I've got the right matchers in the environment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We'll find out. Okay, so muffin tin that should be 0, and you're gonna have to do and include muffin baker, whatever to get the muffin tin, which is this.
I doubt we will. Because it should be loaded via.
Thank you very much. Got it. Okay. So muffin tin is muffin tin new. Now this part you should be able to read this, right? Like you're doing okay. So the muffin tin is in fact nothing but an array. But conceptually, the metaphorical speaking, it's a muffin tin, and every muffin is in there, right?
Okay.
And what we're going to want to do with this, with a database, is be able to hand it just a bulk. Here's all the muffins. Bulk load the muffin tin from memory.
Okay.
And then the rest of the program should be able to, the system should be able to
Okay.
be happy because the muffin tin will be loaded. So before we start, so muffin tin is muffin tin new, it's array new, there's nothing in it. So if we ask for, give me the muffin at 0, it should say no. Then we're going to do a bulk load, and then we're going to ask for something at 0.
And there should be.
Yep. And because this thing actually doesn't know what is a request, this knows nothing about it, right? It doesn't know anything but what is a muffin. He's just sending in a chicken, because he always sends chickens. So he sends in a chicken, and it doesn't matter. This doesn't care what's in it. So this should actually pass right now.
Well, but we still want an expectation here.
Yes, please.
And what we should get is going to be a muffin of some sort, right?
Yep. Because look at that. It just returns whatever's there.
But what is in there is a muffin.
We didn't ever do an add raw. Add raw is all we did was we haven't written a bulk load.
So add 0 should equal chicken.
Now that would pass, except we haven't added the code, but that is the test.
So we should fail on line 132.
All right, let's go.
We should fail with the macros probably. Undefined method bulk load for muffin tin.
Yeah.
Okay, let's add bulk load.
Yeah, it's time to implement things, right? Good.
This is looking nice to me.
Me too.
Looking nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, don't be me.
DB?
I thought
Muffins. Muffins.
Yeah,
Anyway,
good.
man, don't go CS on me all of a sudden.
you started the DB.
I know.
I brought it back to
I know.
Muffinland. I brought it back to
I know.
Muffinland. And let's
Point
talk about
one.
ballets for a minute.
Yeah, I like my valets, but
I know, let's go.
overcomplication is my hang-up.
Wow.
The chicken got milled. Perfect. That's exactly what we want.
Good deal. And all you're going to do there is at muffins equals muffins. Put it down. Whole story. And
Really?
Yeah.
score!
Sure.
Score!
Really?
That's
see,
it,
but
done. Can
I
you see
said-
it? We're all
I said-
high-fiving. Hold up your
I
hands. Air
High
high five. David!
Close enough.
What's the question? It's brilliant.
It's brilliant, yeah. It's simple.
Like it. That's the way.
Yeah, wow, you like this?
That is the best. That is the best database implementation I've
But
ever seen.
you can't beat that database.
I'm like so all over
Ultimate
this
database.
database. Man, am I happy.
Yeah.
Get this.
Yeah, this guy commits everything. Hey, we've got sirens. We got more sirens than you do. Come on,
Yeah, I see.
assassinate someone
We
quick.
need more violence in Brussels.
Stab them. Stab them.
Yeah. Oh, I
Uh,
need this song here.
memory muffin tin
Bulk loads.
for the win.
Bulk loads. All we've got is a bulk load.
Wow.
Over advertising. Got it.
Now do we want to?
Now we need a request.
Let me summarize a bit. Okay, so with bulk load, what you are doing is substitute the current array in which state for a new one, right?
Mhm.
That's
Right.
all. Okay. Okay. Let's use it in a real scenario or something. Just
Well, we don't, not yet, because we're going to, the next test will be go back to test 03.
okay. Let's go. So there is a plan. Good.
So, and now we've got muffin tin. Okay, the request is construct request, blah, 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 blah. I'd like to see what that is. Anyway, it's okay. And then the muffin tin is a muffin tin new. That's okay. That's not going to get us what we want. Because we know it works. We actually were coming through muffin land.
But we haven't.
We wanted coming through muffin land, right? And the problem is that muffin land is going to.
It is going to be.
Right? Now here's a question from security purposes. So this is where I get stuck here. From testing purposes, it's great to expose an interface that says replace everything in memory with everything in the database with a new thing in the database. The moment I expose that to an external API, then there's a security breach, right? See what I'm saying?
If
For now, we can do it
bulk
because
load.
it's friendly. Yeah.
bulk load via external API.
Yeah.
I'd say we deal with that when we get there.
Okay, so the question is now, because we really should go, what would be the command to muffin land? Because we can't access muffin tin from test 3, right?
So I mean, this is like app.bulk load, right? Bulk load or reload or whatever it is.
I'm going to. Yeah, how? Tell me how. You need to introduce
the obvious code, and I don't know what the aesthetics on this code is. This is where only reason I'm pausing is there would be an externally accessible function on muffin land that says bulk load. It will only tell the baker to bulk load, and the baker will tell the muffin tin to bulk load. And it will be that, and it works. There's something that unsettles me in terms of the long-term thing about this, but it for sure works. Yeah, so that would work here. And then the next,
I think
And the next stage would be like for Heroku. So he told me why Heroku is deleting the database. Because basically, when we don't use it on Heroku, it just shuts down the process and everything goes away. When I go back, it brings up a fresh process, which of course has no data in it. So that would be hard-coded for Heroku or how to get a database, and it would then do the bulk load on when it starts up. Yeah? So that isn't too bad that Muffinland's got a bulk load or a reload or well, let's just keep it with a bulk load.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So
You're uploading all your information to Roku every time you.
now what'll happen when we get there for Heroku, it'll be hard-coded in memory exactly where's the file with all of the previous stuff.
Oh, okay.
All the historians been squirreling stuff away,
Yeah.
and that'll be hard-coded. We'll then ask the historian to go and get the database and do the bulk load. So the historian will tell the baker to do the bulk load. Is the way that'll be in here. All right, but for now, let me just see. I will read from the top. We got the request. We've got the new app. We tell it to bulk load, and then basically the test is going to be like that.
I think it's good.
Slice per should. You know they call it slice per instead of extract per because it is a slice.
Yeah.
I just kept it in here. Okay. Okay, go. David, are you still with us?
Okay, yes.
The screen's changed pretty fast, but we're going to need a bulk load.
That's very. So I just want to watch this fail for the reason that I think it is,
Right.
which it's going to return nil.
Show me how to read the screen because I can't read you. What are we looking at?
So I need to scroll up
It's an
just a little
expectation
bit.
failure.
Yep. So we say expected out
Got an
action
be nil. Okay.
got nil.
Okay, got it. So we got a nil to be expected.
And so what we're thinking here is that it's going to be the baker.bulk load.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and then you go to the baker, just down a bit.
And we don't need. Oh yeah. Okay, that's what we do.
And I have a question about this. One more. Is that needed?
hey, wait, because you're, delegating our level after level.
Yes, I know. I was just saying there's a question in my.
You want to do the first thing that works, right?
Will the muffin tin? Well, the purpose of the muffin tin was actually.
I know.
What's the
What I see is you have in Muffinland, it's a propagation of the same interface. It's Balloat in Muffinland, and there's another Balloat in Baker, and there's another Balloat in Muffin Tin.
Yes, yeah.
It's a lot, right? Okay, and for me, it's not fair. I mean, I'm a simple person. When I see so many objects with the same thing, I think, what the hell? Are all then the same? Using the duck type, it seems like all then are the same. And I think they are not, because there are different responsibilities, right?
So I think that's totally fair as a consideration.
No. Probably right now is the best thing to do is this.
Well, I mean, if we get it passing and working, then we can refactor it. But
Yeah, of course. Let's pass it and let's refactor it. But sooner or later, I told you guys we had to face the initialize of the Muffinland. If we segregate the initialize of the Muffinland, there's a lot of possibilities to use these objects from test, which not right now include this kind of, delegating in different operators. Instead of this, we can do it more natural way to the real one. And for me, the key is the segregation of the constructor of Muffinland. That's all.
Well, yeah.
Right?
We'll get to that as soon as this thing happens.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, it's good because we'll get to see what you have in mind.
Okay, no, sooner or later, you're going to face it.
But let's try to get this one passing.
Yeah, let's go straight.
And it's interesting to me that, it makes sense to just do it like repetitive way at first, and then you refactor.
Yeah.
So where does that empty DB stuff come from in the first place?
That's the historians. Ah, wait, stop. Okay, so the bulk load, so the historian didn't get notified about any of this stuff, right?
So maybe do need the historian.
Well, it's going to make you even unhappy because it's one more chain. But you would tell the historian the bulk load, the bulk, you would tell the baker,
So
that's a long chain, right?
well, I guess I'm okay with where it's going in the sense that it looks like maybe Baker and historian actually have similar. Maybe there's a responsibility that is currently split between the two of them that needs to come together, or they come together, whatever. Right. But if we make this work and kind of end up with an ugly design and that sort of.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Right. Can we look at the historian again? I know we'll make David even unhappy with the chain of things, but what historian does is it's got the posts. Now it doesn't have the post for database access. It has the posts for historical purposes. Yeah. And all it really does is know about it. So far, all the historian does is know history report. That could be replaced by asking the baker if the muffin tin is empty.
Interesting. Right? So we're getting no history, or we're getting the MTDB.
So this is called speculative design, which Ken Beck and XP are massively against, and this is why they are against it. Right. So we've got this kind of like thing hanging out there, waiting for somebody to think of a reason for it, and that can all be the no history report can be replaced with a muffin tin empty. Right? Mm-hmm. And so we can do this. So rather than adding bulk load here, can you go to Muffin Land and look for no history to report and change it to muffin tin empty question mark?
We don't know here yet.
That's the baker, sorry. The baker, excuse me, muffin tin empty. Got any muffins? No? Okay, and so the reason that it's a nice name, except it fails the linguistics of the when. Now, ain't got no muffins, yo, is what you want. Ain't got no muffins, yo.
Well, no. So when the baker ain't got no muffins.
Muffins, yo.
No muffins. Ain't got any. No, ain't got no muffins, yo.
Yeah.
And I put question mark on it because that's my cool style. So go to baker. Bring up the baker over there, and we don't have a T on it.
Why can't I get that T in there?
Ain't got no more. What are we gonna do is what's the can we go and look what's the legal piece of interface of the muffin tin?
Oh, because it's not an array, right?
We don't have a size. We don't have anything.
You can ask the muffin tin if it's empty.
I would do a size. Size 0 for him. Which do you prefer? You have a view, David? Small aesthetic question. Do we ask the muffin tin if it's empty, or if we ask the muffin tin for its size and then check if that's 0?
Excuse me? I didn't.
I don't care. Flip a coin.
Ask it if it's empty.
Ask if it's empty. So empty.
And?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay. What? At muffins.empty, is that an array verb? Yeah. Empty is an array verb?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's what I learned. Hey, we're going to do an aha later on. I got an empty question mark. Okay. So then it's at muffintin.empty. Got it. And that's
so we sort of
this was
and you're not going to fool me, eh? Changing the name is not going to fool me. You are only asking for empty. So subpropagation is a cascade. Very good.
Historian.
Well, can we see if this passes?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, we're continuing to ignore the historian. It's very
as most people do. You can find method ID for ML rack requests. So this is
for what? Where point?
For ML rack requests. So it looks like
It's in the test.
it's not getting a muffin.
Right, so it's the construction of the muffin that's...
Ah. I think I understand.
Right.
So let's see. So where we're failing online, where's it? So ML response is 13 is where it's blowing up. So on line 51 in here, it then calls ML responses.
Get muffin.
Oops. Right. So, and that's on line 13. So I think what's happening is over here in our muffin tin, when we do this, we just replace it, but we need to be doing an add.
What does add raw really do?
Well, so here's the problem. When we bulk load, we just set it directly, but we actually
Stop! The screen's moving too fast. I can't read anything. Simulate the add raw. Now you could do add raw one at a time, because what add raw does is it doesn't store the request. Oh, silly me.
I'm wondering if we iterate over muffins in here and call. Well, because these aren't muffins. Well.
Okay, stop. I understand the problem. Do you?
Yes.
David, are you there?
Yes.
So the problem is that I foolishly and incorrectly told Pat that the muffin tin contains requests, which is incorrect.
Yes.
It contains muffins, naturally. The historian was keeping track of all of the requests. That's why the historian was there. So when we do a bulk load of the muffins, of the muffin tin, the thing where it says bulk load is wrong because don't type anything.
Yeah.
Putting in are requests, not muffins. But muffin tin doesn't know anything about requests. It only knows about muffins.
And so my question here is on line 1
Yes.
on test 03, should we be passing in requests, which are the contents that get
Have
turned
to
into
pass in the
muffins,
request because that's
Or
what's
do-
in the database the historian was having.
or do we put in like actual muffin objects?
No,
Okay.
because what will be in the database are requests.
So bulk load needs to convert the
But not in the
stuff into
muffin tin. Go
muffins.
down to Baker. Go down to Baker and see what add muffin does. You'll see the conversion right there. So add muffin from text takes a request and sucks out the contents, and then has a new muffin created. When it's to add raw from that, and I go back up high, it'll construct a muffin from the contents. And this add raw will do muffin new. Am I not mistaken? Yes, add raw creates a new muffin.
So I'm wondering now if
All you have to do is tell the baker's bulk load would iterate through all the requests and do an add raw for each one.
so that bulk load on muffin tin goes away.
Nope.
No, on muffin tin goes away.
Yeah. But this won't be muffins. Stop. That won't be muffins. You're bulk loading requests.
Yeah.
All right. And now you iterate through the requests, and for each request, you can say call add muffin from text. You following, David?
Yes.
Okay. That's what the bulk load for the baker does. It's different from the other things.
One second, what are you doing?
Correct. What's a $sign at the end? Is that the continuation character?
Yeah.
You can't make this continue bigger?
Let's see. I think somebody may have just joined. No. Hey, Dave, can you make your terminal bigger, please?
Sorry?
Can you make your terminal bigger again? I think I'm pretty sure you just made your terminal window smaller, and that's why we're seeing less code. So if you
Okay.
maximize your terminal window, then we should get a big window again.
Okay, I'm going to put here. Plus. So it's about. Oh,
Yeah. So this is looking better to me.
okay.
All
All right.
So now
Better now?
I'm reading this back out. I know you know. I'm reading this back out. So now when the baker gets told to do a bulk load, the baker is handed a pile of requests. That's the thing. The baker knows how to take requests and produce muffins. So the baker sucks out the content. Actually doesn't. Add muffin from text, no. hang on. No. Oh, add muffin from text request. Yes, that's correct. So the baker is going to go through all of the requests and one at a time create a new muffin from each request and hand it into the muffin tin. So the muffin tin knows nothing about bulk anything. It'll be nice, one at a time stuff. Yeah? And that'll be proper behavior. Okay, so now you have to go to the top of the muffin tin and multiply the muffin.
Always delete it. We don't care about it.
Yeah.
And then test of 4 goes away.
Well,
Yes. They're returning it for now. I also like you don't like have to go back and find that whole piece of code that I wrote. And now it might pass.
Yeah, I think it passed.
yeah, great.
So I vote we clean up some of the code in the test case before we commit. And then we pass the controls over to Dave, and he gets to do his configurable thing that I want to see.
So what's the cleanup that you want to do? Because I think the only cleanup is delete this test.
Delete that test. Okay. What about the one above it with your database thing?
Oh, yeah. But I don't know. This kind of stays.
You still want to go there at some point in time? I don't know what it is. I still don't know what it is. Because this is the behavior, what we've implemented is the kind of the behavior I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I don't know about this app one after.
We'll kill this. It's easy enough to break right.
But you'll know what it is.
The idea is you start up 2 instances of the app server, and they're both pointed at the same database.
Which is a very interesting concept for me, is it? It's a concept that I've never done that.
So this is not Valet fetches from in-memory database.
What?
I'm stressing out.
About the car?
Yeah,
You park in my...
I parked in the parking lot. I never find it.
No.
Okay. Hang on, so are we done?
No, because this name is terrible, because there's no Valet.
So test 2 is doing what? What are we doing?
This is the test that we just wrote.
I thought it was called bulk, we had a name for it. Bulk flow.
No. Well, no, this is the acceptance test that we just wrote, that we got working.
Oh.
We had test muffin tin bulk
Oh, yeah,
so
we
those
give
are
it better
unit
names.
tests we don't
Right,
care about.
right.
I think a muffin land has a configurable database. So that's like to me. Or muffin land loads, muffin land bulk loads.
Muffin and bulk flows would be okay. Run test one more time just before we commit. So, let's have it.
I was I passed.
Oh, okay.
I'm just looking at to get diff to see what's the difference in our code now here.
Okay. All right. Commit. Second. All right, that's cool. That was very small, very tight. Okay, Dave. David?
Coming?
Yeah, you're on deck. Steer us in this thing you're trying to do that I don't understand, but I'll more be watching than anything else while you guys.
Let me explain something I watch in this session. It's like, if we are playing a movie from the test, right? And there are main 3 actors, like Groucho, John Wayne, and Scarlett O'Hara, okay? And we cannot fetch them from the test. So we can invent, okay, John Wayne threw Groucho Marx, shot the gun.
Right.
Just let me, with all the respect, but I think it's time to try to get more control about the main characters from test.
Yep.
And this is something about the segregation of responsibilities in the constructor and the thing that I told you in the beginning.
Good. Show us the middle window.
I don't know if you share my point, because it's you are trying to do things in muffin tin.
No. I'm trying to learn by watching. David, just run.
Oh yes, sorry, excuse me.
I guessed everything for a while, like 7 seconds. Hurry up.
Yeah, I have a very bad.
Okay, so we're going to go back to Muffinland, right?
I'm muffin.
At the top of Muffinland, the constructor. Something up there that initialized you want to do differently. You're in mute. There's some mute happening here. Why are we? You put mute on yours, David. We can hear. We can't hear you. All right. Did you get done swearing at me? David, can you hear?
Yeah, tell me.
All right. What do you?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, one starting point for this initialize is to put these two actors. There is a actor called the baker. Okay, let's put this actor in a variable with accessors. I mean, with you can create the accessor you want. Okay.
Mute accessor, the baker.
Baker.
Oh, the historian, because the historian.
No, the baker. Let's start with because the historian is not used. So let's try to go to the now. We can create we can use the baker from the test, right? So we don't need the bootlock from this. The first method in moving land is delegated. Hey, stop it. Hey, the first method of moving land, this bulk load is delegated from. I mean, it's delegated in the baker, so we can get rid of this.
I hear you. So wait. I'm just trying to catch up. Okay.
So Dave, I see where you're going. So we can do what you want to do without having to remove that bulk load method for the time being. So we can get to the design that you want and then remove bulk load. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. Let me instead of app.bulk load, you can put completely free. Free app the baker dot. No, please. No. I mean, it's only one line. The line 94. Oh, well, yes. The line 94, please.
94.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was just adding a new test.
Yeah, we're going to leave the old test in place and add a new test.
No. This one is good. Baker. Yeah. Now it's app dot. No, well, not needed. It's not needed. App.baker, the baker, man, is the variable. You can access to the variable.
Oh.
You can access to the variable. So the baker, app the baker bootload. Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. So you can get rid of the first bulk load.
So we know. So let's just run this and see that it passes. It should.
Yeah.
Right.
Stop. Let me just catch up. Because there's some Ruby syntax here. The at has gone away. So at inside Muffinland, I have to say at the baker.
Yep.
But outside Muffinland, I can just say at.the baker.
Well, so at the baker is our instance variable, and by calling attr accessor, that defines methods for us. So it's just a method.
Got it. No, I was just catching up with my eyes were
Yep.
catching up with Ruby
Yep.
syntax I haven't used before very much. Yeah. Since 2002.
You ask me any questions.
No, I got it.
So I would expect this to pass now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's run it.
Is the test pass it or not? Let's see. Yeah, great. Okay. Next thing is let's go to the baker just for 1 second. This is something interesting because I love the historian more than the moving team. But of course, you can create a attribute reader for muffins.
In the muffin tin?
No, in the baker. Not the baker. I think the baker is below.
Yeah.
Right there. So yeah, attribute reader. Or muffin tin. Yeah, good. And now we can get rid of the. We can go to the test. Switch to the test, and then the baker dot muffin tin, but load. So finally,
that won't work. They've got two problems with this, Dave.
tell me.
We'll just try it and see it not work.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to work. Yeah.
No, the reason that won't work, the technical reason is because the muffin tin expects muffins.
Yes, it's sure. Yes, for sure. Yes, yes. So forget. Yes, the second one is a bit premature.
And the second one is it's a design smell when you've got
Yeah.
inside parts. So you go app.thebaker.muffintin. You're kind of like putting your hand straight into my stomach and like putting food into my stomach and fiddling with everything.
Yeah, but still, okay, I know there's so many things, but there is, you make a wrapper of muffin tin in the baker, so only the baker knows the muffin tin, which is a lot of responsibilities for the baker. So I don't know.
But I'm interested in this concept of passing in bakers instead of, so this is part of the configurable dependency question that we're after.
Yes.
Is when, so the pattern name, I don't happen to like the word dependency injection, I like the word configurable dependency. Configurable dependency has a fairly high cost in terms of complexity and some kind of exposure things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so whenever you do a configurable dependency, you're exposing certain innards of the system, allowing things to kind of shove stuff around. So you have to be decided and deliberate about it. So the notion of having the baker be injected into muffin land. So for any given muffin land, you would hand it a baker, which knows certain things. There is for sure going to be this configurable dependency somewhere, guaranteed.
Yeah, I think.
But we should just have one, and it should be in a good place. Yeah. So I was going to be comfortable with passing in a valet or a something like that.
So,
right.
You can remove the muffin tin. I mean, in the test. So it's app the baker. I think this way is nice.
So the way I would do that,
baker stuff.
Yeah, David.
Yes,
the way I would do that, so I would feel a little bit less strange. Is I would create a brand new baker and pass a baker in as a parameter to Muffin Land and say, dear Muffin Land, please use this baker for all of your baking needs. Yeah.
Well, okay, it's your fault.
No, but I mean, doesn't that do the same thing as what you're saying with the attribute accessor? Oh, Pat's got something to say here.
The question is, okay, you want to make a port. I mean, the goal is to have a port, right? Not that all the objects in the system have the same port. I mean, the port is only for the muffin land. Would have the port for an adapter, which is finally is the muffin tin, all right?
No, I don't have a port for the muffin tin because muffin tin is not part of the outside world. You don't need a port for a muffin tin.
Yeah, well, it's part of the outside world. Right now, it's your mechanism of storage.
The purpose of the muffin tin right now is, I'm sorry, can you scroll up a little bit higher on the muffin tin? Higher. So you can see the comments. See, read the comments on muffin tin. Known only by the baker, the muffin tin knows what muffin IDs are made from.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Real isolation. So the purpose of this style of design is to isolate the what I call the trajectory of change. And I was getting to a point where as you correctly observed, I was using array index as the ID of the muffin. That's guaranteed to change at some point. Kenpeck would say, wait till the time happens, but I had code scattered around. So the purpose of this class muffin tin was to isolate all of the code around muffin IDs. And the only way I could think to do that was to create this thing that only the baker knows, that nobody else knows. It's private, nobody needs to know about this discussion, normally it'd be with the baker. And I just didn't like this ID generation stuff being scattered through the baker because the baker was picking up a lot of stuff. It's kind of like an inner class in a certain sense. And the purpose of this is to isolate a certain piece of code that belongs together and will change all at the same time. So that's not a primitive. It's not talking to the outside world.
The baker is one of the main characters, right?
Totally. The baker has potentially too much knowledge. And what I found, I was putting knowledge of how IDs are created into the baker, I got really uncomfortable.
Okay, I said no more question from my side, but I still believe strongly that to have the baker suitable from the test part, I mean, like right now, is better.
So there's a different way to do that that'll make me feel happier as a designer. Instead of doing attribute accessor, that there's a method in Muffinland called switch bakers or hire baker.
Well, that's kind of the same as the baker equals.
Honestly,
Okay, fine. Not worth the code change, right?
Alistair, are you going to keep this kind of way for any method, for any actor inside? So you are cascading meshes?
Yeah, that cascading thing, it's considered an acceptable style in some parts of the world.
Well, I think we could do that with the outer accessor. You can have the baker new.
Yeah, show where this one here, this guy here.
Right. Where you're defining the
Here?
baker, yeah.
Well, this is redundant, actually. So what happens is when the Muffinland gets created, it'll get a baker. But because it's an accessor, you can replace the baker at any time. So when he says at muffin u, there is a baker. But then he says,
We haven't changed the baker at this point.
oh, it's just an accessor. So we haven't changed it. Or you
So
can just
we're doing
access
a
straight
getter,
through.
but we could do some.
Yeah, it's good.
do something like this: is baker.new
Right.
This is completely good also.
app dot the baker equals baker.
Right. That's right.
Yeah,
Either way, it's
you
swapping.
don't like the double, yeah? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely good.
Oh, it's 1 o'clock. Oh my gosh, it's after 1. Hey, David, we're
I
kind
know,
of, we're at the end of the session.
it's completely the same, yes.
Yeah, undo all that. It wasn't worth all the letters. The way you had it, which is fine. Hey, we've got something we could commit. David, we've been going for an hour and a half. That's the length of the session.
Okay, good.
Thank you for showing us that, because you've been trying to get me to do that for a long time, and I didn't see it before.
All right.
Land has a configurable baker.
Baker!
Oh, impressive.
Okay, and the last thing that we do,
Now,
point of protocol, is to do lessons learned, aha, and takeaway.
okay, so guys, I have to go to bed.
But you can't go until you tell us what you learned. But you can go last because we practiced this twice yesterday. So, but we end the session by doing like, what did I learn? Any surprise? Insight? Takeaway? Stuff. So what I got out of this was this persistence thing through the bulk load was a bit of a surprise to me. It looks very nice and easy. That's one. And I learned, what was the other thing that we did that I learned something about? In terms of coding, I learned something.
Okay. Could you switch to see our faces?
Empty.
Yes, can you switch to see
Empty.
faces?
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
That's it's a good moment.
Sorry.
All right.
Should be back on. Cool.
There we are.
Hello.
Hey.
I think we learned about empty on array.
Oh, I learned about empty on array.
That was one thing.
Yeah. And this design came out with the bulk load a lot sweeter, and I'm learning that the historian still doesn't have a job, which suits me. But I keep waiting for the historian to kind of crawl back in through the window, but right now, kind of out dangling by one finger.
So one thing that is kind of really noteworthy to me about this stuff in terms of writing tests is if you have a simple, good, clean OO design, then you don't need lots of tests, and you don't need lots of unit tests. We're able to just define the highest level behavior that we want via this acceptance test, and because everything is just like one line of code here and there, there's not really any reason to unit test stuff yet at that point.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I'm finally understanding what your muffin land is doing. So I wasn't really quite sure when you were explaining it the other day. So I'm kind of getting an idea of what's happening here. The unit testing, I usually work in RSpec, so that's a little new for me. As well as, there was something else.
How do you about this anthropomorphic design thing, having historians and bakers and muffin?
I think it's cool, but I think it's like, I think it's cool. I think it's something I would personally do and would feel like silly about doing it. But I do really like it. I'm still unclear of what the raw batter is. I think it's new information, right?
That's
yeah.
right.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So, David, did you learn anything or ahas, insights, surprises?
All right. So the thing is what I learned and when I was surprised, right?
Yeah. Did you learn anything from the session? Did something?
Yeah. I learned a lot. Overall, is how to use unit testing for good design or for improve the design, which is always challenging and interesting because you feel naked, and it's it's a good feeling for me. Trying to improve from very simple assumption and I think to take a single design decision from test is healthy. I surprised when you substitute with the ball load the entire moving thing with a chicken, which is a symbol. Okay, I don't know it's going to work, but it's, take care a bit with the types because it's not an array. So still some here and there sophisticated work conditions should be there. I don't know. Probably I'm very European.
Yeah, you guys don't eat chickens the same way we eat chickens here. We eat fingers.
Something I'm surprised is how fast are the things, and just to trying to make the test pass it. And it's good because you got feedback very instantly. So thank you for the combination of techniques, and this has been very valuable for me. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye guys.